So like Aptana's free, Dreamweaver you'd have to pay for. PHP Storm you do have to pay for, but they do give it away free to students. So I'm just going to type in PHP Storm. And student. So if you just Google PHP Storm and student, JetBrains is the company, and they say products free for students. If you click on that, and I went to the wrong site, so I'm not on JetBrains site. Okay, down here I see JetBrains students. Okay, so they have a whole bunch of different applications. I just started really using the PHP Storm. But what I did is I just went through the apply, and as long as you have a student email address, you can just put in your first name and last name, your student email, apply. They'll shoot you back a link where you can create an account on their site, and once the site account has been created, you're good. So that's what I did. And again, don't feel like you have to do this. I'm just going to do it. So I'm going to use PHP Storm. And it does have a 30-day free trial, so you've got 30 days to figure out how to create the account on JetBrains' site. It was pretty straightforward. And I am just going to save it. I'm going to open it and run it. I'm just going to go with the defaults. I'm not going to click any type of file associations here. I'm basically just going to click next and install. And this is your machine at this point. It's a virtual machine that you guys can use. I just don't want my antivirus running while I'm making the video. So, like for me, what I'll probably end up doing at some point is installing Chrome and getting Chrome all installed, because I just prefer, being able to use some of the tools that come along with Chrome, like Element Inspector and stuff like that. So, okay, so I'm just going to run PHP Storm. I do not have a previous installation, so I'm just going to click OK. Okay, so this is where they'll shoot you an email, and then you just create an account. Okay, so I'm just going to say OK. I'm going to create a new project. Alright, so what I'm going to do is from my location, I'm going to click on the ellipsis. And what I'm going to do is I want to keep my project in my documents. I'm going to say OK. And then in the documents folder, I'm just going to call it PHP class. Okay, so I've got my PHP class inside my documents. That way you can find it easily. And I'm going to hit create. Okay, so this is JetBrains. There's a couple things we can do. We can get a project view by hitting Alt-1. You can double tap your shift and that'll bring up a search. So we need to get to our remote access. So if I wanted to, I could double tap my shift and do remote host. Okay, so it opens up my remote host. So if I had multiple clients, I could drop this down so all the different hosts could be mapped up. So I'm going to hit the ellipsis here to create one. Now another way to get to this is through your tools, deployment, and then there's configuration. That'll get you to the same exact spot. So I'm just going to click on my ellipsis. The server is going to be called web server. We are using not FTPS, SFTP. All right, so it's secure FTP. So it has to be the SFTP. I'm going to say OK. They're different protocols and they work differently. Okay, so now we've got our web server over here. So now the host, we need the IP address, which is 10.4.132.57. All right, I don't know if that's right. 10.4.132. If I go over here, I've got a 10. Oops, I got to make sure I'm on my web server. All right, so that could be confusing. You got to make sure you want your IP address for the web server. I can see the Ubuntu 10.4.132.57. Okay. Okay, so the path. So if we were to FTPN, it would take us to our var www, but inside there we have an HTML folder. So I'm just going to do the path of HTML. And then the username was dev user, and the password was dev123. I'm going to save that so I don't have to type it in every time. I'm going to test the connection. It's asking, do I want to trust my key? Yep. So the first time it actually negotiates and gets a shared key for encryption. So if I clicked on that ellipsis, you can see how we have that HTML folder. We want to be inside there because that's actually where our website is. So that's that HTML. So at this point I think we're good. I'm going to say OK. And I've got my index file. So I want to get my project view over here. So to get my projects view, I'm going to hit that Alt-1. So I do not have that index file over here because it's only on the web server and I just installed this. So I can actually right click on this Oh, I know what's going on. I'm going to click on my ellipsis. I don't have pathing. I need to path what folder everything hooks up to. So I set up the FTP server, but I also, the SFTP server, but I also have to hook up my mappings. So right here, the deployment map for my web server, which is just going to be a /. If you hit the ellipsis, you're going to see that this is my HTML. So my HTML is going to go to my PHP class. So once I do that, it kind of has like a greenish glow to it. Now if I right click, now I can say download from here. And then it'll download the file. And if I look over here, I can see the file. Got it. And then right here there's a little thing that lets you hide bars. So even if you wanted to hide this, you could. You can move it around if you want. I kind of like it there, but you don't have to. I mean, it does take up some room, so you can hide it. And then if you wanted it, shift remote host. So what I want to do is this is going to be the part that you're going to want to submit when you submit your project. We want to make sure PHP is actually working on our web server. That's going to be one of the main things. So what I'm going to do is on my PHP folder itself, I'm going to right click and I'm going to say new PHP file. And I'm just going to call this thing test. So it automatically stubs out an opening PHP tag. I'm just going to throw in a closing PHP tag. And I'm just going to type the most simple code here. It's called PHP info. And I'm going to go opening and closing paren and a semicolon at the end. Now, we could delete the comment if you wanted to. You could actually leave the comment. For right now, I'm just going to delete the comment. I'm just going to do this. So really, I've got an opening PHP tag. I've got a closing PHP tag. In between there, I have a built-in PHP function that's built into the actual PHP engine that's installed on our server. And what it's going to do, it's going to pull all of the PHP info it has about the server and display it onto a web page for us. So that's what this function is. So I'm just going to save this file. And then I'm going to close it. And then I want to upload it. So I can right click on it and then I can do a upload to web server. So it moves it from my local view. Okay, so this is the folder in my documents and it moves it over to my web server. So it transferred it over there. So what I could do is I can open up my web browser. And then my web browser, I can actually type in my IP address of my web server, 10.4.132.57. I'm going to hit enter at this point, and I get my Ubuntu page, my default page. And then what I'm going to do is after that, I'm going to type in test.php. And I'm going to hit enter. And then that's that. So it displayed all of the variables and everything about the PHP server. So this is actually something that's used for developers. Like if I'm using like a remote host somewhere, like maybe a GoDaddy or maybe it's hosted offsite, and I need to know if like curl is enabled, I can actually dig through here and look for curl. And I can see that that curl is installed. So anyways, this is setting up your client. So hopefully you didn't have any problems. If you did, all right, for example, if you had an issue over here where when you tested it and you were getting an error message, if everything looks the same as what I have and you're getting that error message, then the problem is over on your server. So you're going to have to go back over to the server and look at that install guide, rewatch the video again, rerun everything again. Worst case scenario, you send me an email and I can restore your machine. You can rerun that setup again and then hopefully it works. Otherwise I could take a look at it. So anyways, hopefully this video helps.